candid conversations, unfiltered opinions, and humor with AVP podcast.
Good. Welcome to an episode today. It's going to go many places and many exciting places. Rich and I met and we got talking, and I couldn't wait to share this conversation with all of you. So he's excited as well. So Rich, who is this handsome, dashing man, you ask?
Oh, great. So I get to introduce myself. Okay. Well, my name is Rich Kozak, and I am the founder and CEO of Rich Brands and Impact Driven Publishing. And for a lot of years, decades, in fact, I've been defining and languaging brands. Now, for 20 years or so, I ran an agency with partners in 21 countries, certified branding consultant, and moving brands from country to country. It was big boy branding, companies as big as a $14 billion public company. These days, for the last almost 10 years now, I have been working only with individuals, evolving individuals' brands with deep clarity because it's missing. And when it's missing, brands fall flat. And people don't bake clarity into their brands because they don't know how. And so evolving individuals' brands with deep clarity, energetic longevity, so they can do for more decades what they absolutely love and are made to do, and divine purpose, praise God. So that's an interesting introduction from a branding guy. Let's have some fun.
Let's get into it. You talked about branding for big companies and then pivoting to individual and small companies. And somebody listening to you say that will say, what is wrong with this guy? Why walk away from big money to people who are just discovering themselves? Why are you walking away from brands that not only can financially support themselves with whatever branding initiative, know their target audience, know who they want to serve, to people who are just exploring the idea of branding themselves?
You know, that's remarkable. No one has, I've been on hundreds of podcasts. No one has ever asked me that in that way. And the humorous side of me would say, like, what, have you been talking to my wife? No, she never said, but no, I'm kidding. So I can make this really clear to you. When I was 50 years old, and that's a couple decades ago, when I was 50 years old, I was doing all-nighters. I was so addicted to my job. I would be at the agency. Look, there was a night, 3:14 in the morning, 3:16. Hey, I knew I had to get out of that office on the 9th floor of the office in Santa Monica that looked right up the Malibu coast, get to my car to have time to drive home, take a shower, shave, put a new suit on, drive again for an hour and a half, and make it to that 9 o'clock meeting at the $14 billion company to say, gentlemen, my name is Rich Kozak from Young Company, and I'm here to talk to you about the vision we see for how you can impact and create the right perception on your target audiences moving forward to make your strategy more successful. And I'm shaving, and it comes to me, doing all night. I'm like killing myself here. Like, what am I doing? I was addicted to the job. And I changed my prayer. Lord, show me what you want me to do. I'm ready. I'm resigning this addictive career. So within 6 months, I made a deal with my good friend who ran the agency, and I left and said, I don't do branding anymore. I was out of shape. I was headed to a heart attack. Literally, my prayer, I think, explains it. I don't think I was here for that. I didn't feel so significant in the work that I was living what I was made for. And my prayer, Lord, show me what you want me to do. I'm ready, was a announcement anyway. And unfortunately, it says in the book I read every morning, man makes plans, but God takes care of business, and you know what happens. But, and here I was telling God what I was going to do, like, nice, buddy. It's like an agency guy, kind of a control freak. So God, here's what's going on. Yeah. Anyway, I reached a point, and I was there for 17 and a half years as exec VP with partners all over the world at the end, in the last several years. And look, in big boy branding, it's about money. A public company has to deliver quarterly reports. Private companies, which is whom we dealt mostly with, still, they want market share. They want to release a new product. It's about money. They don't pay an agency, so nothing happens. So it's about money. And you don't get a lot of time to guide them in brand development. You get maybe 5% of the year and the rest is execution. And you're always like, I was head of new business. So you're always pitching new clients. So you're building relationships with 350 companies in the LA area, getting them to want to marry you. That's a lot. And I felt it. I could feel it. And I told you I've been married for now 49 years and 54 Valentine's days. And one of the reasons I was willing to change my prayer and say I'm resigning was I didn't want to leave my wife and my sons. I have 2 sons without a dad, without a husband. And I was headed for that. And I was like, I need to kind of get this ship on a course that it's supposed to be on. And you're listening to this podcast right now. We all have a course that we get to be on. We're all made by the same creator with unlimited power and gifts. And our opportunity is to make the most significant impact on the world we touch, on the individuals whose lives we touch. Maybe we touch companies, maybe we touch industries, maybe we touch countries, but we get to make the most significant impact that we're given the gifts and the power to make. But if we stand in our way, if we hold ourselves back with fear, if we get complacent, if we think we're running the show, and if we don't ask, what is your will? We might miss that being on the right course. And so both Idongesit and I want you as a listener to be ready to make change in your own way. But what does that mean in your own way? Is it the way somebody else thinks up and slaps a brand on you and says, there you go, there's your brand, and you have to like fit into the superhero costume? Or you think something up and because it's tricky or nice or cute or things, or do you reach inside yourself and ask your heart, what impacts really thrill me? What can I clearly see making impacts on who I really want to impact them? And I know I really can. And you take that course. Yeah. It's a different course and you will feel much more authentic. You will feel much more fulfilled when you're on the course of following your desire for impacts. Now, your life might not be there yet. I get people who have been doing things for sometimes 20 or 30 years and they say they're not done. They just don't know what the higher level is or how to get there or how to shift the way they're perceived. But I also get people who have, I'm done with that corporate job. I want to do what I love, but I need a brand. And I get people who are young who say, I have an idea. It doesn't matter what you do. The sooner you ask and the sooner you get on the course that's congruent with your heart, the more fulfilling life you'll have. Wow. Hey, are you glad you're listening? I hope you're glad you listen to this podcast. Wait a minute. Is this guy really a branding guy? He sounds like a philosopher or maybe like a pastor, but I'm not. I just work with people every day who know they're not done and who want to make impacts. And so that's why I'm writing the book, Impact Driven Branding, 7 Steps to Ensure Your Brand Impacts People's Lives. I taught big companies. Sometimes the people who run big companies are not marketing backgrounds. They're engineers, or like a lot of them were engineers or finance people or attorneys. And they don't have a lot of time to listen to marketing people. They think marketing is so much and fakery and branding is like, logos and stuff. They don't know that, if their company builds factories in China or oil platforms in the North Sea, it's a bunch of project management. It's steps. And if you leave steps out, you're screwed. Branding's the same way. It's just steps. And when you do them, it works. And when you do them coming from your now, it works. So it's authentic to you. I hope that resonates with you because that will put you in a place to make change in your own way.
Thanks, Rich. Guys, I don't believe him that he's not a pastor or philosopher. I have to check some credentials after this, but let's just go on with the show because that's kind of like what we're here.
Well, my dad was the first immigrant from Czech Republic, Moravia. My mom was from Irish people in West Virginia. She was raised Southern Baptist. He was raised Catholic, then Presbyterian. They changed on the way over. They chose Methodists. John Wesley said, we're all pastors. It's like, let's gather at home in small groups and read the word. Right. He was the one that got tarred and feathered for preaching on the street corner to the common people. Can you imagine? My goodness.
Laura.
I know. So, Yeah, maybe I've been brainwashed, but in a very, very good way.
Thanks for sharing your personal experience and your guide. So for the people listening to us have this conversation, whether they fit into the category of, okay, I'm still in corporate, I've been 20 years in, I still have some gas left in my tank, or I'm done completely, I need to do what revives me, or I'm still young. How
Sometimes they want to
important?
share what they're really good at, but
Right.
just not be an employee. That's a very common one too, and that warrants a brand that gets that individual credit for what makes them outstanding, because
Right.
it is they that people choose.
Yeah. So talking about this realization you had while you were shaving, coming from the office at 3 in the morning, only to head back in to talk to people. Usually the encounter that makes the decision is usually not the first encounter. I absolutely love this saying, if you want to hear God laugh, tell him what you've got planned. So
It took me a while to learn that.
So I'm sure the shaving was not the first encounter. Do you remember the first encounter where it was like, okay, Reggie, does that, yeah, do you want to pivot? You want to do something different because this is not what you were called to do, and you kept pushing because as humans, we're stubborn. We're
Well, you know
stubborn.
what? You have brought up a memory that I haven't voiced for quite a while, and I
Mm,
will tell you the first moment. It wasn't just a seed planting. I would call it a stake in the ground, okay? My wife said to me matter-of-factly, and I repeated this to her 20 years later, and she goes, "I don't remember saying that." She was talking about a dinner party that we were invited to, and I couldn't come because I had to work. She said, she just matter-of-factly and sweetly, I'm married to an angel, it's amazing, said, "Someday, I want us someday to be able to have dinner, have friends over for dinner, and to go and have dinner with our friends freely. And to do that, I want us to be able to do that." It was very matter of fact on her part. But for me, it was like, wow, I'm keeping my wife from helping me. She's always opened my eyes to, Rich, of course I could live outside the country, but why would I? My sister's in Philadelphia, you know? Like, I want to live outside the country, be an expat. I don't travel the world. We went backpacking as students. I'm like, so could you live outside the country? Yeah, but why would I ever want to? I'm like, no. So she's kind of put me on the track of what's important. Like, family's important. Hey, love is important. Hey, and we both feel our faith is important. Thank goodness. I think that's one of the reasons we've been married for 49 years, 54 Valentine's Day. But she said that, and I never forgot it. And I think that was the stake in the ground. That was like, that day needs to come. But, not right now because I got some appointments, but I think that was it. Interesting that you would ask me that simple question and that memory would come up. But yeah, wow. I help people step into their purpose. And one would think like, wow, you have it all together. Well, have you always
mhm.
had it all together? No, every master was once a disaster, right? So there have been some really challenging times when after I left the agency, I got involved in self-development, and I was going to build an organization for children called Empowered Youth Day. And I went to CEO space to learn how to build what I thought would be a nonprofit and build a team of people and sell convertible stock, whatever, convertible loans. I didn't even know what that meant at that time, but to go there and learn how to put it together, because that's what CEO Space was. And Lisa Nichols, the powerful world speaker, woman who became world famous on the movie The Secret and was in Bob Proctor's and Transformational Leadership Council, was there. She had built her business there. And she said, look, I've been doing motivating the teen spirit in rooms for 14 years, and I'm looking for new generals in my rooms. I want to train people to be facilitators to do this work on teens. It is such powerful work. And I'm like, wow. So I had this picture where I went up and put my arm around Lisa, and she had this look like, wow, that's really nice security. You're my new colleague and my new mentor. Right. And I was with her for years, and I represented Motivating the Teen Spirit and put it at conferences and things. It's wonderful work. And it was in practicing to be a facilitator in an emotional healthiness curriculum for teenagers who put glitter on and say like, yeah, everything's okay. And it's not okay. They're filled with angst. They're filled with self-doubt, and they don't show it, and they hold all that. And if they get too alone in that space, it steers toward depression and suicide. And she was suicidal as a teen, and she asked God to give her a way out, and she would share it with teenagers for the rest of her life. So it was a real deal, and she was a real deal. And I remember having a breakdown. It's not me. I don't do breakdowns. Okay. Yeah. Well, let's call it a breakthrough then. I mean, literally, I remember sobbing, like sobbing, when I realized that I had a fear, a hesitance of becoming really successful again because I thought I would lose my wife, that it would ruin my marriage. She had been so supportive for so many years. Now I'd resigned that addictive career. If I become really successful again, she's gone. And I never verbalized it. I just came to me in a moment, and I realized, wow, what we do, our choices create paths or block paths in our lives. And at that point, I had been involved in self-development work after I left the agency. I was in everybody's room. So if I took this backdrop down, you'd see a library filled with work from all these people who who you've heard. Oh, wow, he's been around a long time. Yeah. Well, I've been around a long time too. People say, like, did you ever hear Brian Tracy? Yeah, I saw Brian Tracy in Grand Rapids in 1976. How old are you? So when I left the agency, I got really busy doing something on my own account. I said to God, show me what you want me to do. I'm ready. That was my prayer, and my prayer every day. But yet I got really busy investing in real estate. So I was like, I'm going to do this. It was like, tell me what you want me to do your time, but I'm going to do that. Okay. So it was very successful over a big growth period in real estate. And I built quite a substantial amount of wealth, and it was gone. It reversed into negative wealth in 1 year because of the change in the market, and the banks closed, and I was building houses on beautiful lots. And it's like, that didn't work out. And to teach people how to do lease options. I had 5 lease options, bought houses. So then midlife, beyond midlife, heading into what most people would call their retirement years. And I was massively in debt and out of a lot of the cash that I built. Adversity that some people would just would not deal with well. It might crack people. But I raised 2 Eagle Scouts, okay, with my 9.5 foot size imprint on their rear ends. But and I didn't want to model that adversity defines us. I wanted to model that adversity strengthens us. It's like the eagle that lands in the park and asks the woman, "Are you okay?" And she says, "I'm afraid that I'm not raising my children in the right way." And the eagle says, "Look, it's not about comfort. It's about strength." So when my eaglets start to get ready, like, we pull all the feathers out of the nest. So all that's left is the sticky stuff that they don't like, and the thorns. And then I throw them into the air, and they can't fly. And they're like, ah, but then I catch them and put them back in. And then I throw them again until they figure out what their wings are made for. And then it's a really good story. So adversity is not meant to define us. We don't let it define us. Yeah. I am not adversity. I don't create an association of myself. Well, I really had a lot of problems. I let it strengthen me and show that I'm stronger than the adversity. And it's meant to prove me, like steel, sharpened steel. When a blacksmith hits the steel, grain gets stronger. It breaks into smaller, and it literally strengthens the steel as he's pounding on that red hot metal. And life is like that. We go through adversities. I thought I'd done my job when my kids were 18 and they were Eagle Scouts. And I'm like, well, that's good. Check out what can go wrong now. Okay, I'm not going to go into detail, but watch out for 19. I'm just saying, you parents out there, you're like, anything could happen. And so life is filled with pain. I have a client who wrote a book about incest and wrote a movie and a stage play because of her background. And she's a ghostwriter, bless her heart. She wrote a book called The Ugliest Word. We launched it on Impact Driven Publishing, my publishing company. Client who helps people set powerful goals for themselves that they can't set because of sexual abuse as children, and they don't know it's holding them back. I have a client from Africa who is the head of diversity, equity, inclusion at a major law firm. And she and I work together to define language through God's eyes, the next generation, how they understand and execute diversity, the true power of natural diversity through God's eyes. And global cultural competence, we defined it as one of the characteristics that people need to be leaders of tomorrow. It's like, and these are not liberal viewpoints. This is biblical. You know what I mean? It's more the way it gets to be, and to get the politics out of it.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter what people do. Clients who are coaches, clients who are financial advisors, but it's not about selling things. It's about enhancing people's lives by allowing them to make better decisions. But they don't get credit for that. You know, they're just in the they're in that great bullpit of financial advice. So we create language that's unique so they come alive and attract their best fit clients. I mean, everything from local marketer experts who take on a near me business, like, hey Siri, show me pizza place near me, a near me business. And he helps near me businesses create constant flow of clients and beat out the big box stores that would compete with them, about how the work you do and why you do it, and why you do this phenomenal podcast to bring people truth and clear thinking, and encourage them and empower them to make change in the world they touch in their own way. I want to connect that thought with impact-driven branding. You're listening to this, you think a brand is whatever you think it is, but it's not what you think it is. You have to understand that. Let's talk about your brand, or if you have an entity or a company that you're the founder of it. So it's you, the visionary founder, and the entity. Great. What you think your brand is not what your brand is. You can talk to me for 10 seconds and explain it, 10 minutes. It doesn't matter what you say or what you think. Your brand is a perception, and it's not your perception. It's the perception in the mind of those individuals you most want to impact. You clearly see impacting, and you really want to impact. It's their perception that is your brand. And when you realize that, and understand that branding is shaping a consistent, that's a very important word, perception in those minds of your target audiences, those you most clearly see impacting and really want to impact. Everything else doesn't matter. The people that live 25,000 miles away and pet giraffes, they don't mean anything to you. When you think about it that way, now you're on the right track. And if you reach into your heart and ask your heart, please don't ask your head, because your head will give you lists. You can help the milkman. You can help the rodeo clown. Hey, how about a mattress tester? Yeah. It's like, okay,
It's so true. It's true. I love it because it's true.
hey, heart, give me one. Give me one. I clearly see the impacts in my mind's eye. I can see the impacts that I can make and really want to make on that type of person. You describe that type of person. You think about the first impact you have. Might be to reframe how they see something about themselves or the world. It's all in their head. They think differently. Maybe they release something they're holding on to. They realize their worth, where they lived in a kind of a self-worth place. Impacts happen in steps, and there's a moment of impact. And so we literally would describe who your heart hands you first, and then describe those moments of impact. You do that a few times for a few different types of people that your heart hands you, and then you can easily define the brand you must become and give it language, characteristics, unique ways to say your categories of expertise, so that you get credit for what makes you unique and different. It resonates with you. It plugs you into your own authenticity, and you stand apart from everything else that's out there. That's branding done right. I'm going to repeat that. That is branding done right. If you want to make change in your own way, That's where you go, right inside. People think it's something else. They've been tricked by the world who wants to sell you marketing services. This will be good for your branding. So one of the things I love to say is things I hear people say about me and the work we do at Rich Brands. It's straight talk. It's not jargon about branding. We don't talk about branding. We guide you through the steps. It's straight talk you can trust and deep experience you can count on. I've been doing this 49 years and I'm not done. I'm going to do this as long as I get to do this work. I quit, remember, and said, I don't do that anymore. And people said, you never stopped. You just don't charge for it. And that was a wake up call. Okay. But it's like I get to do this work. I hope for you, I pray for you that you find yourself in a position where you love what you do so much that it doesn't feel like work, it feels like love. An honest to goodness, and you'll need to trust me on this, but if you spent, 10 minutes with me, or you jumped on one of our free 60-minute master classes, or you jumped on one of our half-day events, Branding You with Impact, you would realize very quickly this is love. We all get to share it. Look, the book I read every morning says we're only here for two reasons: share love and praise God. And if you don't get them both right, you got to go back to number one. Well, everybody shares love in their own way. Everybody shares love in their own way. And so here I get to share love by doing this work, by helping people reach and mine the impacts in their heart and put them in, go through a steps process that allows them, to come alive. Idongesit, she shares love by doing her podcast. I share love by cooking. I love to cook. I'm an organic gardener.
Dinner.
Well, the Brand Ranch is on the side of the hill in Los Angeles, looks out at the mountains. It's a gorgeous place. You'll never leave hungry. If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area, you say, hey, I'm going to be there. I'm pretty spontaneous and I'm quick, but you'll never leave hungry. Yeah, cooking is love. Sharing food is love. There's a lot of ways. Listening is love. For you coaches out there, listening is love. Sharing your heart, sharing nuggets of wisdom. I have a client, Lou Vickery, who is the voice of generational wisdom. He's 83 years old. He taught sales training across the United States for 30 years. He pitched for the New York Yankees in the 1960s. He's from Alabama. And he'll say, never tell you my Mickey Mantle story. And every story has a golden nugget of life wisdom. Well, his way to share love is to speak and to write. He's written 24 books. A baseball player who wrote 24, amazing. Some of the most interesting people have found me and have said, I think you're the one. Well, I just get to do the work. It's amazing feeling. And I pray for that for you. I really do, that your work feels like love.
All right.
But there will be swamps and you're going to have to slug your way through them, but that's okay. Adversity does not define us. It strengthens us. So put it in context. When my sons went off the rails, I'll say, okay, I would look them in the eye and say, get done with this, because what you're going through is preparing you for the greatness that's in you. So please get over this quick and get on with the greatness. Let's remind ourselves that we're here for a reason and we get to ask.
And having the grace for ourselves too, because sometimes we don't have grace for ourselves. Having the grace for ourselves is very important.
You are so wise to say that at that point. Life is not about perfection and it's a team sport. We're not meant to go through this world alone. So grace for ourselves and for others is a wonderful gift we get to give you. And forgiveness.
And forgiveness. Forgiveness, I don't know if you share this. I want to say something about forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean welcoming destructive patterns or people. You can forgive somebody at a distance. I forgive you. I don't hold on to what happened between us. But right now in this space and time, you do not add to my growth. I love you. I care for you. If there was ever a need for me to be there for you, I will be there for you. However, for me to have you in my immediate space right now or stay in connection with you right at this time is not healthy for me. I think that is what we do in both our personal lives, businesses, and careers. That growth or stagnation you talked about comes about because of that. We keep the wrong people and the wrong situation for longer than they deserve to be kept, for whatever reason.
It could be complacency, but it could be fear. The word is dangerous, but in a narcissistic relationship where there's physicality and there's mental abuse and there's a person who is a user and they come across differently, but they're a user. I have two female clients right now who are active clients who got themselves out of relationships like that. And it became part of their strength that they get to share with others. One is a businesswoman and one is a woman of deep faith who connects people to their creator. And they both went through some really torturous stuff, but they don't forget, but they forgive and have beautiful Christian hearts. But waiting, well, I'm only qualified vicariously because I've heard their stories.
I think the waiting is a hope for better, but the hope
It is.
usually doesn't come. And as opposed to the hope for better coming, damage in real time continues to be done. And it's that belief, especially in the Christian faith, which is people have interpreted it to be whatever they want it to be. So right now is difficult. Seriously, it's
What is
difficult.
with people?
Human people have the best intentions in staying or tolerating bad behaviors in the name of Christianity, giving 70 times 7 times and all of this extra stuff. But in reality, the book also says if your right eye is causing you to sin, pluck it out. If your left arm is causing you to sin, cut it off. So that is cut it off. It's okay. But there's a special place for you with your maker, your God, whoever you pray to or worship. Cut it off. It's
Turn the
not
page. Yeah.
free. And it's not worth it. Move on. It takes a lot of mental strength, which is something that I want to ask you. You shared very openly about when you left your corporate career and you started real estate, which was something that you knew was not what you were called to do. However, you leaned very heavily on your own understanding, and that did not work out.
This is not an excuse. I asked my mom's name is Virginia, and she lived till 100 years and 5 months. And she is a woman. Her name should have been Grace. She is just an amazing person. And I asked her one day, Mom, when you think back about the bad things I did and everything, what was it like raising me? And she looked at me and she said, darling, she was from the South. Darling, I only remember the good things you did. Who warrants that much grace? It's like, my goodness, what a model. So, and I asked her, I said, well, what was it like raising me? And the first thing she said was, well, darling, you were always busy. So when I left the agency, I'm not just going to sit around and eat bonbons.
Why not?
I had been investing in real estate while I was in the agency, buying properties that I could double depreciate and offset the earnings I was making so I could keep more of the money. And I was like, now they really get going. Like, yeah. So that didn't work out all that great. I mean, it worked out great for years and then bam. And that got my attention. God has a sense of humor. I think.
Absolutely. With that adversity, I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday, and I was talking about an experience that I had with somebody in the tech founder space. And the person said to me something about regret. And I said, I don't regret things in life anymore. I've come to a space in my life that I don't regret anything because I look at things as these are experiences that I was meant to have, and these are lessons that I was meant to learn. Because it doesn't matter the experience, it taught me something. Either what to avoid or what to, lean into. So when we're talking about abuse, when we're talking about molestation, when we're talking about incest, right, those are experiences that I can tell you most of those people who experience it would rather have not experienced them, especially with the innocence of a child. However, the greatest strength that I've seen from people is using that experience to say, you know what? I am going to use my experience to make sure somebody else doesn't experience this. Or unfortunately, if somebody else has experienced this, that they know that they're not alone and it was not their fault, which is something that children usually internalize or young people internalize. It was my fault. I must have done something wrong.
Something's wrong with me. I'm not worthy.
Absolutely. So both of these heartaches, pain, the swamp, like you call it, wading through that tough time. They're not measurable, they're not comparable. However, the strength it takes to come out of that is something that is admirable. So even at your retirement age, experiencing this, something that most people, like you said, would crack, right, under that pressure. Do you look back and really, or sit back and look at that situation and the strength you had? What was it that really helped you pull through that swamp, that gunkiness that happened where you were riding the wave of profitability with real estate, all of a sudden at an age where you should be planning and
You lost me on the word should, okay? Then I'm not buying that. So what
okay,
most people think,
well, it's your mate.
word retirement to me is like putting a
Yeah,
horse to pasture. I don't
right.
believe we're meant to retire. I think we're meant to refire,
Refine.
rejuvenate, renew, re-strengthen, revitalize. Truly, I mean, I read about longevity. I
Right.
bake longevity into brands. I do things. Peter Diamandis' book on longevity is beautiful. If you haven't read it, go read it. It
Mm,
says, look, I'm going to live as far as I can, as long as I can. Science says we're going to hit longevity escape velocity in just a few years. And for every year you live, they can add a year to your life. And you're like, what? Okay. It's like, we can be around for a long time. Our mission is to make the most significant impact on the world we touch with the gifts we've been given. There's no time limit on that. When our time is up, but we don't know when that is.
right.
So if we can do things that give us longevity, that give us vitality, that bring us joy, I'll comment on your word regret. I think regret is part of that shoulda, woulda, coulda mindset. It's an energy sucking sound that we only get so much energy. So worry, regret, those they're not worth the time we spend on them. So like skip that chapter and just go right to the been there, done that, never do that again. And maybe teach others to not do it or whatever, but not regret. It's more celebration. Like, well, we're through that. Praise God and praise God. Well, man, we're here for two things: share love and praise God. So praise God. So it's like, man, that was an experience that I'm glad I'm through. Praise God. You get to become. Look, you might ask me, what great word of wisdom can you encapsulate what you do?
So, Rich, let's talk about the office because I want everybody to understand how much of an impact you're currently making. You're actually, like, when we got in this, you're like, I spend most of my days on Zoom meeting people. So I please want you to talk about that so that people can understand how available you are and how much you're making yourself accessible to help people, no matter what their phase, their journey is, to realize that, you know what, I need to lean into this calling I have.
You get to make no excuses. There's no one who can help me. Wrong. Okay. You can't use that whiny excuse anymore. Okay. Because there's this guy who's been doing this for 49 years, but it feels like love now, and he's not stopping. And his friends and colleagues say, you're still doing that? Aren't you going to retire? At this age, you've been doing this for 49 years. You should be on a beach or on a yacht. And I say, no, I'm on Zoom. So if I allow you to jump on my calendar, if you're strong enough and ready enough to just one-on-one with me, you go to richbrands.org. Don't get the ORG wrong, richbrands.org, and click talk to Rich for 30 minutes. You will be on my calendar and you won't pay anything. And I'll listen to you and what you do and the impacts you clearly see making. And we'll talk about possibilities for your brand. Okay, that's one. Every month we do 2 master classes free. And I'm going to give you the link to one of them. It's called, we talk about making higher level impacts, but you have to shape the perception that is the brand. And it's called Brand First or Die. And that's how you get there. You have to register free at brandfirstorDie.com. First, F-I-R-S-T, brandfirstorDie.com. Just hop on that. It's 60 minutes. It's free. You'll hear me talk about how you get to think about your brand, what it is and what it's not, and what you get to do to improve the probability that when you're ready to make your higher level impacts, that people allow you to. If you don't, if you aren't ready, if the perception isn't the right perception, if you haven't evolved it, that perception, which is your brand, in the minds of those that you most care about impacting, they might not let you in.
Yeah.
It might not happen. Brand first or die. So like hop on, be there. And frankly, if you go to the website, it also offers free videos that answer common questions. Help yourself. These are the ways I make myself. We're building a huge YouTube channel where continual training, and you'll see things popping up on social media. I have a producer behind that, but he runs things by me, and I edit the language and do recordings. There's going to be a lot out there that you can take advantage of. The moment that you resonate with it and say to yourself, this makes a lot of sense. This is straight talk that you can trust and deep experience you can count on. I think I'm supposed to plug into this, then plug into it. We do a half day every month called Branding You with Impact. And you register at brandingyouwithimpact.com. You'll spend a few bucks, but it's cheap, and it should be 100 times more expensive because of it's 4 hours of reshaping how you think about what it means to define in language a brand so clearly that everything you say and do aligns with the impacts you clearly see making. Wait a minute. Is that even possible? Yes, we do it every day. Actually, is that even possible? Let me say this about that. Yes. How's that? To give you a little, yeah.
You got it.
It's steps, and you do the steps, it works. And therefore, one of the master classes is called An Hour of Brand Power. And it's free too. And it talks about 4 things a brand must have to come alive, or it will fall flat. What are those 4? When you want to know those 4 things, yeah, well, hop on the master class. It's called brandpowerhour.com. And then 7 things that are really common that brands do that hurt them, and you need to stop them right now. Same masterclass. 4 things you must do, 7 things to stop. Who teaches this stuff? Nobody. They're selling branding or selling marketing services. I want to give you the confidence that you're the champion of your brand, and your brand is you. It's not something somebody slaps on you. So you get to define in language the brand that you must become to make those impacts that you really want to see.
Yeah. Thank you. So all of that is going to be available in the show notes. So if you didn't get a chance to write everything down, we'll make the links available for you to click in and find Rich. And yes, I mean, like you said, we costed a little bit, but nothing really great is given away free that you wouldn't value. So, Rich, what do we say to the global listening audience? So somebody's worried, I'm in Japan, I'm in Hong Kong, I'm in Nigeria, I'm in Ghana, I'm in South Africa, Kenya, Gambia, Mexico, Brazil, UK. How do I work with you? Yes, we meet on Zoom, but can you work with me because I'm in a foreign country?
There are no boundaries.
Great. Beautiful to hear.
Yeah. I mean, there might be a few countries that I might stay away from, but we won't talk about that. But no, I mean, there are no boundaries, and it doesn't matter where you are, and it doesn't matter what you do. You could be a coach or an expert. You could have a method that you created out of your own experience. You could be an inventor. You could be an executive. Your desire, your vision of impact might be giving your capability to others so that others can share it too. Or it might be teaching those specific people who need to hear it, or it might be touching millions. It doesn't matter. It's what it is for you. And what matters is that you get access. And that's what I see, get access to the steps, get access to what it takes to ensure that your brand comes alive and transfers itself with energy to people's perceptions, not fall flat. That you know how to do that and get it done. Do the work, get to the point where your brand is unique. It transfers energy. It has intangible brand promises baked into it. And people are saying, oh, that's marvelous. I want that. What is that? It's that masterful work of putting your heart into the shape of language that's attractive, that makes you unique, that gets you credit for what makes you outstanding, and that attracts the attention of the people whose lives or businesses you most want to impact and clearly see the impacts. It's about getting you access to that. So you'll end up being able to buy the book, and there's a set of fill in the blanks outlines you put right next to the book. that make it easy for you to do whatever you want to do on your own. But when you're ready to plug in, I am very accessible. That's why I do that half day every month, branding you with impact. If you know you're ready to like shake it and let's hear some stuff I never heard, sign up for brandingyouwithimpact.com. I mean, get on one of our next one. I do it every month for that reason. And it's not free. It's like $97, but that's chicken feed. Mini trainings that I do about naming things and about message hierarchy, because I always do those trainings in that half day, will save you probably thousands of dollars and maybe years of screwing around and making mistakes. So look, there's a tremendous amount of value when somebody talks straight. I don't have time for double talk. And I don't know how much time I have. So I'm going to use this time to give you straight talk and tell you the way it is. And with 49 years of doing this, we know these days, applying this to individuals, it always makes sure that everything the brand says and does aligns with the impacts you want to make. That's a huge claim, but I know the steps are defined to be impact driven. We start with the impacts you clearly see making, and everything comes from that. It's by design.
Yeah.
And you will feel so comfortable in your brand when it's evolved. It'll be like the most comfortable pair of shoes you've ever worn. That's what people say. I thought branding was going to be kind of partly, this or partly that. And they go, look, I love what I do. I love talking about it. I love using the language of the brand. I tell people to say their message hierarchy every day. Literally say it. Say the words so that the words are, it's kind of like muscle memory. I'm a violinist and it's like playing a passage. Once you learn the passage, it's like your fingers remember it. And so I tell them, it's like muscle memory for the mouth, so that you're being interviewed on a podcast and somebody says, well, John Sparks, you've helped put 962 new theater musicals on stage and produce. Like, that's amazing. Where does that go? And you matter-of-factly say one of your message hierarchy messages, and it comes from a place of knowingness deep inside the brand. And they just look at you like, and that was written and you practiced it. You just said it every day, but now you see an opportunity to say message number 3. They go, matter-of-factly, John Sparks that I just described might say, wow, imagine the power of moments in musical theater have shaped us in every era for 100 years, moving our hearts and changing how we make decisions. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the man who's the author of the book, The First 100 Years, How Musical Theater Have Shaped Our Society. It's like, oh my God, those words didn't exist before we started working together, but they're congruent with his heart. And now you know what makes him unique. And now you know what makes him outstanding. And now he's going to be the author of to everybody that cares about musical theater, historians and librarians. And it's like, oh my God. So, hey, we all are born with unlimited power and with gifts, all of us, every one of us, and with a purpose. And when we ask and when we realize that what we're going through is preparing us for what we get to do. Again, I pray you step into a place where what you do feels like love. And there's a way, seeing that I know it and that I use it every day. I mean, we're going on 10 years. I'm working with individuals. This stuff works. We even put people together in a room and they help each other and they don't even know each other. Somebody will read their description of a target audience and the first impact that they see making. And everybody will say, wow, to make that impact, you'll need to have this characteristic in these ways. How do they know that? Well, next thing you know, there's a page of 30 characteristics that are congruent with the brand. And the person who's the brand gets to say, well, I wouldn't say validatable. I like validating. Okay, so you use that word. Yeah. In what ways? Well, we validate the person, we validate the program, we put them on, and we validate the results. Great. That becomes one of the characteristics the brand must get credit for on first impression. It's like, that's not tricky talk. That's just straight English. And what that means is it's just steps. And when you do the steps, the brand comes alive consistently. Remember, I told you that word is huge. Consistency across the board, because inconsistency, which is what many people do. Oh, this is what I do. Oh, I thought you said you did this. Well, boom, there it is. Confusion, misinformation. Look, I've been married for 49 years. We still have moments where she'll say, well, I thought you said. Brands are like that too. Consistency across the board. Bake it in. Bake the clarity that's missing into the brand that you evolve. Come on now.
Bake it in.
I'm hoping it resonates with you. It's like these are doable things and they're not trick things and they're not some other person's opinion. You get to turn them from blue, which is draft, to black, which is yep, because they feel right for you. And that's the way your evolved brand gets to feel right for you. Branding done right.
Lord, see, this is why I'm checking these credentials, because this guy's been preaching the whole time. So I'm not alone in this. Good. Okay, cool. Well, Rich, we have come to your favorite part, our golden nugget segment. Yo! So usually I ask for a few, but you're a man with a few bags of golden nuggets.
I'll give you
So,
two more.
Okay. Buckle up, people. Here he goes.
All right, Rich, what words of wisdom can you leave our guests with? I'm going to say two things and I'll put some space between them. Number one, and this is your brand, but it's also life. Speak from your heart. That's not the same as speaking from your head. Okay, your head gets you in trouble. When you're in your head, you're not necessarily congruent. You're doing what you think you should do. You're questioning. You're like calculating. Speak from your heart when you talk about the impacts you clearly see making. I'll give you an example. You're with someone who is a target audience of yours, a type of person or a type of business, and you say, so we understand the situation that you've explained to us. I've been listening. Here's what I see for you. The words you use after that, here's what I see for you. Paint a picture. And when you use the right words that tie into what they're thinking about themselves, that tie into who they are and where they, and what you see for them through the work you do, you become a magnet or you mess it up and you fall flat. Speak from your heart, and consistency in those here's what I see for you words to specific target audiences is absolutely vital. You can't say it three different ways, three different times. You get to say it consistently. Okay, and the big one is this, and I'm going to point the finger, but it'll be turned around so it points back to me. If you're listening to this now, okay, not tomorrow, not like someday Isle, the music on Someday, I've been there, Someday Isle. The music is wonderful. The drinks are good. I love Someday Isle. I got off there, okay? I want you to get out there too. Like, now is the time to define the brand you will become. This is Rich Kozak.
I was a mic drop, guys. So yeah, now, not someday, please. Don't stop there. Now. So get over yourself. Rich is being very nice, so he wants you to get over yourself, and I do want you to get over yourself as well. And this is just a self-fulfilling prophecy, because when I started this podcast, it was out of the frustration of not knowing who could help me with what, and having to dig for information and not really getting the straight speak. That is why I started this, and to be able to connect with incredible people who are not only serious about what they do it with heart, and they speak straight, so that you can get from it what you need, and you can have the necessary resources to jump in and better your life and change your life and go after what you really want. So if you're listening to this podcast, please, 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 somebody that has years, decades of experience is making himself available to you for free. Do you know what some coaches charge for a 30 minutes call? All right, just rhetorical. You don't have to answer that.
Praise God. That's all I'm saying. But get to do it, okay? Yeah.
And you have somebody reach out, please. If you find yourself overthinking, which most founders do, second guessing yourself for whatever reason, you don't have support because sometimes the people closest to you are your worst enemies. You need clarity, please reach out. Please. All right? We'll make
Or they
everything.
want you in the position that they want you in. Okay, it's like,
You're uncomfortable to see you grow. That's the thing. So most times, I've spoken to a lot of founders, CEOs, people that have pivoted from what they knew and what the rest of the people they know knew or know. And people get so comfortable with you progressing or growing past what is comfortable. It's like, well, you might fail. Who knows? This might not be sustainable. So don't listen to those. It's okay. It's part of one of those things that you need to strengthen you on your journey. You said it so well. I'm not rich. I'm not. Mr. Kozak is over there. So he said it very well. With every experience, with every encounter, it strengthens you. It is a test to keep you on that road to your testimony.
You're such a blessing. I love what you do. I love the purpose of your podcast. And when you talk about why you started it, it touched my heart. There are probably people listening here who know others who really could benefit from not just listening to this episode, but from connecting. And maybe it's something they can do together. Please, if you're listening to this, feel free to refer this episode to others, to refer people to go to richbrands.org and just plug in. It's a high probability that it will be a blessing to your business and possibly to your life.
I believe that. Please take advantage. Share this with anybody you know will need it. Even if you don't know for a fact you think they may need it, send it to them. Let them make that determination. So, Rich, as we wrap this up, last thing, you talked about your book. Do we have an anticipated release date, please?
It's not in my control. It's in the control of my publishing partner. And my guess is, because I'm looking at the schedule, that it's probably going to be sometime in the maybe first quarter next year, or definitely first half. But thing is, if somebody emails me, rich@richbrands.org, and says blueprint, I'll send you a copy of your impact driving branding blueprint. It says, here are the 7 steps and here's kind of what they are. It kind of gives you a look in the tent so that you can start thinking about it. And the best thing to do, I mean, I'll send that to you for free. That's what I do. Hop on one of those 60-minute master classes. I do them at different times. So the master classes are always at 5. You talked about people around the world, 5 p.m., either on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, Pacific time. I'm in the Los Angeles area, 5 p.m. Pacific. So that's not so good for Europe because they're in the middle of the night right there. I have a wonderful marketing executional guy who builds websites and has for about, I think, 15 now of my clients. He's in Moldova. Okay, so he's like 9 hours away, depending on whether we're in daylight savings time or not. But for Australia, that 8 a.m. on Thursdays or Saturdays is when we do the half day. It's 8 a.m. to noon. That's perfect. That's a good thing for Australia. Actually, it's good for Europe too. Europe is good for the 8 a.m. to noon. Australia would be great for the 5 p.m. because they're the next day. So that works great for them. They're early in their morning. Yeah, pick a time that works and hop on. And what happens if, you decide you want to take advantage of Brand Accelerator Mastery and nail all this stuff in a matter of a couple of months in little pieces of time. Some of them are with groups, some of them are one-on-one. We find the time that on the clock and the day that works for you. That's the answer to the question. Well, what if they're from Nigeria? What if they're from Sri Lanka? What if they're from Singapore? Or what if they're from Italy?
So the man is available and ready, and there are times that could
And
work.
global.
Global.
I ran a high-tech ad agency with partners in 21 countries.
He's familiar.
Global.
Don't worry about his schedule. He's familiar. Just you get yourself available. This was an incredible conversation. Rich, thank you for leaning in and working where you were purposed to be. Your blessing to everybody. And thank you for listening. And thank you for being open, because that's a strength on its own to be vulnerable and open about your experiences. You've talked about those instances where that calling slapped you in the face. However, the first one, you put it off, which happens with most of us. And you always brought it full circle. Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for talking about the part that most people don't talk about, the struggles, the swampy times.
Well, I think we learn vicariously too. So if we can learn from others' mistakes or adversity.
Social media glorifies. So that's where people get lost. You understand? So that was part of my frustration. How is it that everybody's succeeding and I'm finding it difficult to even start? I'm doing all the right things. I'm following all the instructions. So that is the blessing of having this platform and being able to connect with incredible humans like you. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. I appreciate being invited.
I'm grateful for your presence. So everybody, Mr. Rich Kozak again, please click in. We'll have the show notes. Find him. Work with him, listen to what he has to say. He's old, but he's wise. So this is why in Africa we celebrate old age, because they've seen a few things. This man was attending events in 1976.
I'm
Wasn't
still
born.
a young guy. I'm still a young guy to my 85-year-old clients. They call me
You-
a youngster. It's like,
what do you know?
I think I'm 45. Don't, and you see me keep grabbing my love coffee cup from Ken's love event that I did about a decade ago now.
Nice.
This is coffee, but it's filled with coconut oil. Coconut oil creates ketones that connect synapses in the brain. Like I told you, there are things we do that can keep us vital, keep us young, rejuvenate us, literally revitalize us. We find those things, and I hope you get to find those things too. I hope we find them for your brand.
Yes. See, the man just trying to outlive his mom. I don't know what his problem is. That lady lived long and beautiful. But anyway, so we need him here. We absolutely do need him. We need to squeeze some of those juices out of the brain some more. So thank you, Rich. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And please do the best that you can to do the best for you. There's only one you, and live your purpose. That's it. All right.
Thanks for tuning in to AVP podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. It really helps us out. We'd love to hear your thoughts and continue the discussion. So join us on social media or drop us a message. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and keep pushing the boundaries of your world.